I think they're in a good position, and if I'm a Nets fan, I'm happy with the return. I'm just disappointed the fact that the KD Kyrie thing never worked out the way it could have. Shocking in the sense that, we just watched one of the greatest players of all time actually get moved here. Granted, since last summer, there was always a chance of KD being moved, like we talked about, right? Like the Nets wanted to win with KD. They wanted to continue. They did try to make moves. It's been reported they tried to go after Zach LaVine with a three-way expansion. Of course, they had interest in the Toronto guys, Siakam and OG Anunoby. I think what happened is that KD just determined, you know what? I can't win a championship here in Brooklyn. And the report earlier today, I believe it was from Shams. Correct me if I'm wrong, Chris, but he said how last summer when he made the trade demand, him in the front office and ownership agreed, if things go sour during the season, we'll work with you to send you to where you want. And he wanted to go to Phoenix, and the return they ended up getting, I think, considering the circumstances, getting 4 first-round draft picks, 1 first-round pick swap, Mikal Bridges, one of the best young players, 26 years old, 3-and-D. He's averaged 23 points per game this past month with the highest usage of his career. Cam Johnson, one of the best shooters in basketball, a good defender. Getting all of that for Kevin Durant, it sets the Nets up pretty nicely to continue being a tough competitive team. Since they don't have their own first-round draft picks, there's no reason to bottom out. I think they're in a good position, and if I'm a Nets fan, I'm happy with the return. I'm just disappointed the fact that the KD Kyrie thing never worked out the way it could have.
Well, and also you didn't get any stars back.
No,
you moved both of those guys.
Yeah, but I don't think
you didn't get any stars.
No, I don't think you would get a star back.
Really?
You usually don't.
For Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving?
I mean, there's so few star for star trades. It's just not something that happens all that often.
Do you think they could have gotten Ayton and didn't want him? I mean, I'm just talking about things with real value.
I mean, Mikal Bridges is real value.
He has value, but not
I'd rather Mikal Bridges than DeAndre Ayton 100 out of 100 times. Mikal Bridges is an elite defender. He's a good shooter. And this past month, now that Monty Williams, with guys out, Booker and CP at certain points, they put the ball in his hands more often. He ran pick and rolls more than he ever has. And he was a mid-range assassin. He was really good this past month. He was getting to the basket. He was distributing. He averaged 23 points on 17 shots per game, and he had a higher usage as a playmaker as well. I thought Bridges, look, you and I have talked about OG Anunoby for a month, 2 months now, with him as a trade target for the Raptors. I tweeted out this morning, if the Nets were to make Mikal Bridges available, I'd be offering more for Bridges than I would be for OG Anunoby. I think the Nets would have to demand more in a deal like that. But ultimately, if I'm the Nets, Bridges is a guy that I'd want to hang on to. I think with him, I'm not saying he'll be some top 20, 25, 30, or even top 30 player. I'm not sure he's going to be that. But we already know what Bridges can be in a winning context as a 3-and-D player who can do a little bit off the dribble. What we haven't seen is him with a lot of responsibility over an extended period of time. But I'm encouraged by what I saw from him this past month. He's shown more on offense than OG Anunoby ever has throughout his entire career. So I think for the Nets here, yeah, they didn't get a star, but they got a really, really good player in Bridges and another good one in Cam Johnson, plus 4 picks and a swap. That's a good return. It's a good return. It just sucks that you lose Kevin Durant. Obviously,
there is no such thing as a good return for Kevin Durant.
I know, but if you're gonna lose the guy, if he's gonna push his way out, that's good. It's a good return. What did you expect them to get, Chris? Would you rather they get 9 first-round picks from the Pelicans?
I would.
I'm just curious.
Think that
you'd really rather DeAndre Ayton? That they already have Nick Claxton. Claxton's better than Ayton.
No, I'm talking about either I'm getting things that are of great value, or you don't think you could have shopped around with Kevin Durant and got guys that you think might become a big star?
I don't know. I'm not sure.
That's exactly the kind of guy that people would.
I'm honestly not sure. Because he could just demand a trade again this summer. If you're the Pelicans and let's say you trade 9 first-round draft picks and some other pieces to get Kevin Durant. Let's just say you did that. This summer, Kevin Durant might be like, why did you guys trade for me? I don't want to be here. Trade me. I want out. And so these other teams might not end up giving more. The Pelicans or whoever, the Grizzlies, whoever it might have been, theoretically.
But if you move Brandon Ingram, say.
Yeah, but I don't think Ingram wasn't on the table last summer for Durant, and he probably wasn't on the table at this deadline. It's a theoretical. They got like one of the 40 or 50 best players in basketball on Bridges, a great 3-and-D guy in Cam Johnson, and 4 future picks from a team that is relying on old Chris Paul, Kevin Durant, who ruptured his Achilles a couple years ago, and they have like no depth. Those Suns picks could be pretty good, and they're all unprotected. I don't understand like how the Nets could have done a lot better here.
Well, and we have seen a lot of those. The giving up the picks usually has not worked out very well, because there was one that we looked at a lot, which was that Houston one. And now, in retrospect, all those pick swaps that were given up in order to, that they received in order to move off of Harden. Now those Nets picks that the Rockets have look infinitely better than they once did.
Yeah,
because
they look
got
better
picks and
for
pick
sure.
swaps from the Nets. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're sitting there at the time.
But Chris, like that's what I mean. Like for Brooklyn now, you get those Phoenix picks. Of course, you can say, oh yeah, maybe they'll be winning and being picks in the 20s for the next 7 years. Not necessarily. They could flame out in 3 years, and those picks could end up being lottery picks each year. You just don't know how it's going to work out. Like same for the Boston Brooklyn deal years ago. Like they end up getting all these great young players from it when the Nets thought they were getting Kevin Garnett and Paul Pierce. That's the way things work out sometimes. And I think the real criticism of Brooklyn here is you got Kyrie Irving at his press conference saying he's happy just to be out of there. He wanted out there for a long time. You get Kevin Durant asking out again the first chance he gets a year after James Harden wanted out. Like what's actually gone wrong there in Brooklyn for 3 superstar players in the matter of a year to be traded? This is unheard of. Like nothing like this has ever happened with this amount of star players or any level of player for that matter asking out of a franchise.